Arata suffers from uncontrollable curiosity. He is compelled to investigate anything and everything that catches his attention. He transfers to a new school, hoping to know how it feels to be a transfer student and to investigate the school. However, Arata's condition causes him to push the boundaries of what might be considered normal, such as trying to figure out if shrimps and cockroaches taste the same or if ghosts exist near the suburban area. One day, Arata stumbles upon a door he had never seen before on campus. To satisfy his urge to dwell in the unknown, Arata places his hand on the door. Upon turning the handle, he enters a room and stumbles upon a woman changing her clothes. Arata experiences a feeling in his chest that he's never felt before. The pain is too much for him to bear, so he turns around and runs away. Try as Arata might, he cannot remove that woman's image from his head. He struggles to get any sleep, and by the next day, he starts wondering if he could somehow see her again. However, he doesn't even know her name or school year. A soccer ball rolls by his feet, and a few third-year students ask him to return it. Just as Arata is about to throw the ball over, he catches a glimpse of someone very familiar. It's the girl he saw the other day. Arata drops the ball in confusion. Why is she taking PE classes with male students? The question lingers in his head, and Arata must figure it out. Later, he runs to the third-year classrooms, hoping to get a glimpse of her. He overhears that her name is Hana, but to his surprise, she is wearing a male uniform. The more Arata learns about her, the more questions pour in. Arata returns to his class and asks his friends about Hana. They remark that yet another has fallen for Hana's charms. Nevertheless, they don't blame Arata for being interested in such a beauty. Arata is less interested in her as a woman and more interested in who she is. He couldn't make certain who exactly Hana was, and the teachers wouldn't tell him either. Arata's friends come clean. They don't know much about Hana either. No one knows if Hana is truly a boy or a girl, and there are rumors that if you're nice to them, they'll do something nice for you. Either way, they don't know. What matters is that Hana is cute, and their gender doesn't matter. The very concept of Hana is devilish to them. Arata caught Hana and stops her. She agrees to explain everything if he just slows down. Arata wakes up in a cold sweat. Devilish is indeed the proper term to describe Hana. Arata is a little frightened by that, but mostly because he knows very little about them. Later, Arata spots Hana and asks her where she is going. Hana replies she is headed to the bathroom, and she invites Arata to come with them. Arata's friends think she's just teasing, but Arata takes her offer. Arata's friends have to forcibly restrain him. Hana finds it amusing that Arata would readily agree to their offer, and she invites him to the bathroom again. Arata staggers to his feet and follows Hana. Naya is worried that Arata is a little whack in the head. When Akeko asks him what he means, Naya testifies that he caught a glimpse of Arata's expression. It wasn't a normal one. Arata follows Hana into the male restroom. He remarks that Hana isn't wearing a skirt today, and she remarked that she wasn't in that kind of mood today. She asks him if he's curious about her true nature. She aren't against being looked at by others. It wouldn't be the first time either, as evidenced by yesterday's events. Hana remarks that Arata's curiosity is on a level different from everyone else's. She feels like her very being is torn apart whenever Arata looks at them. Hana pulls Arata inside and asks what he'd like to do. Arata nearly loses himself as he grabs Hana's shoulder but manages to calm down. Hana asks him if he'd dislike it if she turned out to be a boy. Arata explains her gender isn't exactly her priority. He wants to get to know them better, and above all, he wants to know the source of the deep thumping coming from inside his chest. It's almost like his heart is about to burst. Hana starts laughing hysterically. Her hunch was right. Arata is one very interesting individual. Hana's laughter slowly dies down, and she asks Arata to make a bet with her. If Arata can go the entire year without becoming a beast or losing himself, then she will answer any questions he might have. She even offered to let him ascertain it through a hands-on experience. Arata remarks that her deal sounds like the way the devil would word it. Better a devil you know than a devil you don't. Arata thinks long and hard about her proposal, and he silently agrees. Hana looks forward to how things progress and they step out of the stall. As Arata steps out, he struggles to organize his thoughts and feelings. Regardless, he knows that had he made a mistake in that bathroom stall, things would not have progressed this way. Hana trusts that Arata can do it, that is if he's prepared to stake his life on his feelings of love. Arata stumbles to the bathroom floor. His chest tightens again. It hurts, but he feels a tinge of pleasure and addiction. This feeling must be love, he thinks to himself. Arata manages to sleep peacefully, and he wonders if he'll be able to meet Hana again. However, upon heading downstairs, he hears a familiar voice. Hana is there, sitting on the sofa. She decided to drop by after hearing that his house was nearby. Arata doesn't find this concerning or dangerous at all. Hana is glad to hear it. Arata comments on their skirt. Hana smiles and remarks that it suits her. The 7 mysteries is a popular feature of schools, and it isn't absent from this one either. They range from portals on the rooftop to mysterious sounds coming from empty rooms. Hana is the 7th and final mystery. Arata and Hana run to school after being caught up in the sudden rain. Hana dries himself off first before wiping Arata down. Arata resists at first, but he silently accepts Hana rubbing him down with a towel. While being dried down by the cloth, Arata catches a glimpse of Hana, still slightly damp with water trickling down her hair. Arata finally pushes her away out of embarrassment. Satisfied that he's been dried off enough, Hana is a bit troubled that Arata is addressing them so formally, and she agreed to forgive him if he is willing to help her change her clothes. Arata agrees in a heartbeat. Hana has him stand watch outside an empty classroom while she changes. She even offered to let Arata ascertain her true gender if he wants. Arata remembers their deal, and he stands firm. He refuses. Hana remarks that not looking will only fuel his curiosity and fear. She reminds him of what room they're in. It is one of the school's 7 mysteries. A voice will call out to you from the room, and you are strongly urged not to enter it. Hana's voice suddenly trails off. Arata knocks on the door and asks Hana to continue, but he gets no answer. He becomes extremely curious. He wants to know what happens if he enters the room. Will he be taken to another world? Will he die? What is the thing that calls you? Arata needs to know. However, he knows that the moment he looks, he'll be peeping on someone trying to change their clothes. This would clearly violate the terms of their agreement and turn him into a beast. Arata knows that at the very least, nothing is beyond the door except Hana. Therefore, the story of the room makes no sense. Even so, Arata is curious. Hana isn't normal after all. Arata stares at the towel in his hand. He wants to go inside and look, but he can't. He isn't an animal. He's a human being with self-control. Arata puts on the towel like a blindfold and enters the room. Technically, he isn't looking. After a few moments of blindly walking inside the room, Arata comes back to his senses. Nothing is happening, and it'd be best if he went back before something did. However, Arata's fingers encounter something soft and slightly damp. Even though he knows he shouldn't, Arata continues to touch the strange object. His fingers continue to be enveloped in something warm, soft, and moist. The towel wrapped around his head falls, and he sees his hands inside Hana's mouth. Hana remarks that breaking the rules is thrilling, even though there is a price to pay. She clicks down on Arata's finger, and a bright scarlet red starts trickling down. Hana mutters that Arata's blood is a little salty. She asks him if he is excited. The more forbidden and restricted something is, the more exciting it is to break it, even if the consequences are painful. Hana remarks that pleasure follows pain. Now that Arata has crossed the line, it won't matter if they do one or more bad things. Hana ties the towel around Arata's eyes and whispers into his ear. No one is looking at them. Hana invites him to commit even more sins with them. They reason that the situation they're in won't cause problems for anyone else, and they should commit mistakes while they are still young. Arata, after all, is filled with youthful energy. Arata grabs his lower body and complains it's in pain. Hana asks him what he wants to do about it. Arata replies that he will do nothing. Arata would want nothing more than to hold Hana down, but he knows that it would be shallow. He admits that he dreams about them every night, so what he wants is everything about them. He wants Hana's heart, body, and secrets. He wants everything. Hana approaches Arata and calls him a greedy, disgusting human being. She is amazed that Arata would reveal something so readily. Hana slightly regrets trying to use the school's 7 mysteries as bait. She challenged Arata to uncover the secrets of the other 6 mysteries of the school so he can solely focus on her. If he can't, then he will continue to dream about her every night. If he can, Hana promises to cooperate with him to a certain extent. She admits that she loves how crazy he is over her. Hana releases Arata, though she hates that he managed to resist temptation twice. However, she still decides to punish him. Arata exits the door and stands stiff as a board with a hickey on his neck. Meanwhile, inside, Hana is happy she has met someone like Arata. She turns around and declares that she won't hand him over. Hana was the one who attracted Arata, not them. Hana glares at a pair of chained feet they can see through a gap in the dividers. Just as quickly, the feet disappear. True to his word, Arata investigates the rooftop, one of the 7 mysteries of the school. It is said that those who open the door at exactly 4:44 p.m. are taken to another world. Arata opens the door, and a whole load of nothing happens. Arata wonders if he should have done this in the morning instead, and he decides to try again. Arata spots Hana leaving school, so he rushes downstairs to catch up to her. Arata explains that he was on the rooftop to investigate one of the 7 mysteries. Hana asks him if he needed anything, and Arata asks them if they'd like to walk home together. Hana can plainly see Arata's ulterior motives. He wants to know where she lives. Hana decides to play a game with him. Hana will go home, and Arata will have to chase her. If he loses sight of her, he loses. She asks Arata if he likes playing tag. Arata replies that he has never lost. Hana bolts ahead, and Arata follows her. He is surprised by how fast she is, but he is confident he can keep up. Hana suddenly jumps over the fence, forcing Arata to go the same way. Hana remarks that going the normal way would be boring. Arata and Hana Parker their way through the urban jungle. Arata continues to follow her. He can tell that by the pace at which they're going and where they're headed, Hana is teasing him. Joke's on you. Arata's into that. He jumps over the railings of a footbridge to continue the chase. Setting his pursuit of Hana aside, Arata notices that he is in a rather strange neighborhood. He notices an abandoned building he's never seen before, and even though it is still daytime, he hasn't seen a single human being. Despite it being late into the afternoon, Arata can't see the sun either. He is deathly curious about the strange conditions around him, but he reminds himself to focus. He has to chase Hana. However, his attention is split when he spots a few students nearby, with one of them visibly crumbling away. Arata loses his balance and nearly falls, but Hana catches him. She mutters that she took her eyes off him for only a moment, yet he's busy looking at someone else. This makes Hana a little jealous. Arata has lost, and Hana tells him to go home. She finds his curiosity disease a massive headache, but she won't ask him to cure himself of it either. Hana offers to walk him home, but Arata refuses to go back the way she came. Hana repeats an old saying, "There's nothing to fear on the journey there, but the journey back can be unsettling." Arata is already afraid, even though the worst has yet to come. Bloody handprints mark the steps they walked on. Arata feels that it would be rude to have Hana walk him home, which forces Hana to say that she wants to spend more time with him. There's no way Arata can refuse her after hearing her say that. On the way back, Arata apologizes for not making a lot of progress with the 7 mysteries. Hana tells him that it is fine to take it a little bit slowly. She brings him to an unfamiliar tunnel, which Hana claims leads to a place near his house. Hana suggests they play Shiratori to pass the time with some modified rules. To spice things up, Hana implements a penalty. Whoever loses has to do whatever the winner says. That is the most obvious, flirtatious trap known to mankind, and Arata is going to fall for it. Arata and Hana begin their game of Shiratori as they enter the pitch-black tunnel. However, Arata quickly senses that someone or something is following them. Hana asks Arata to hold her hand, claiming that the atmosphere is a little creepy. Arata is more than happy to. However, while Arata is busy trying to think of a word that starts with T, a creature emerges from the darkness. Hana reassures him that she will help him, and she asks him if he likes playing tag. Arata and Hana run as fast as they can to escape the creature hunting him down. Hana ignores Arata's questions and reminds him that it's his turn. Arata spots the chain-link fence blocking their way and exclaims, "No exit." Hana jumps forward and kicks the fence down with her 2 feet. Arata catches Hana as they fall, and they safely make it out. Hana complains that someone was discourteous enough to put an exit in their path. Still, they find a pity that their game ended so soon. Hana realizes that they continued the Shiratori game outside the tunnel, which goes against the rules they set out. Hana accepts defeat and walks Arata home, and they look forward to seeing what Arata has planned for them. Arata conducts some research into what he just experienced. Hana somehow knew how to get them home and tricked him into playing. Arata makes a rather amusing discovery. Shiratori is a game meant to ward off evil spirits. Just who or what is Hana? Arata rushes downstairs once the final school bell rings. He's decided on a punishment for Hana after she lost in Shiratori yesterday. They're going out on a date. Arata brings Hana to a commercial district and asks her what she wants to do first. Hana clings to his arm and tells him he can do whatever he wants. With that in mind, Arata brings them to an arcade, where he wins a matching set of cat pillows from a claw game. Afterwards, they eat out and watch a movie. In both instances, Arata notices that Hana's face is expressionless. After the movie, Arata and Hana walk home while discussing their date. Hana remarks that they had too much fun for the date to be considered a punishment, though Arata admits he wanted them to enjoy themselves. However, Arata had hoped that this date would give him insight into Hana's personality, but he was unable to get even an idea of her true self. Hana suddenly stops and spots a cat. Arata walks over and discovers that the cat is dead. Arata retrieves a small hand shovel and digs the poor cat a grave. Hana remarks that she has seen the cat several times before, comparing its curiosity and energy to Arata. They deduce that the cat likely died after sticking its nose where it didn't belong. Arata asks her if she feels sorry for the cat. Hana doesn't know exactly what to say. All she can tell Arata is that nothing lasts forever, though she is aware that this is a cold, cruel assessment. On the other hand, Arata feels sad for the cat's death, though he only buried it out of a ritualistic tendency. He feels as though he attended a stranger's funeral. Hana tells him that acting this way will only cause problems for him in the future. She points out that Arata has been getting carried away lately. Hana warns him that if his careless curiosity continues, he just might end up like the cat. For example, Hana just might kill him out of curiosity. Hana lets go of the shovel. They remark that the snack bar was forgettable, and the movie they watched sucked. Regardless, they had fun. The best part was that Arata paid attention to them the whole time. Hana gives him a small kiss on the cheek and leaves, and she hoped that she'd do this again someday. Arata sits up. He's already made the decision to involve himself with Hana. The only thing he can do now is prepare for his sudden death. Arata has a dream of someone's memories, and from someone else's point of view. He looks up, and he sees Hana staring at him. Hana seems interested in him, and she has been thinking about how to get his attention. Since they are both bored, Hana asks him if he wants to do something together. Arata follows Hana over a fence, and after they bring out a granola bar, he steals it and runs away. Afterwards, they crawl underneath the walkways of a temple, and Hana offers to show him a safe route out. He and Hana continue to explore the area until the moon is in the sky. Hana remarks that she'd be sad if he ever left town one day, and the place would be a little colder for it. One rainy afternoon, Hana goes out looking for him, but Arata's vision goes dark. Arata wakes up. The dream made little sense to him, but he slowly realizes that it wasn't a dream but someone else's memories. He stares towards the end of his bed and spots the shadowy figure of a cat. Arata heads downstairs and meets Hana in his living room. Hana complains about the sudden rain and how it wasn't in the morning forecast. Arata approaches Hana and passes on the dead cat's message. "It was a great way to kill time," the cat said. Hana rests her head against the glass door and puts on a sad, dejected face. Hana didn't think that Arata would come at her with something so painful. She even expected Arata to comfort her. Arata replies that he'd like to, but he wants to see her in a moment of weakness first. Hana smiles at him and calls him cruel. Arata investigates the peculiar mirror, one of the school's 7 mysteries. It is said that you can communicate with your future self if you visit the mirror at 2 in the morning. The ritual is rather complex. First, face the mirror, and while reciting your name 3 times, splash water on its surface. Then write yes and no using your own blood. Then ask the mirror 3 questions. After 1 year, you must repeat the same ritual and answer your own questions. The first question Arata asks is if he has learned how to swim. Arata's future self places his hand on the word yes. Arata is thrilled to see that the rumors are true. Hana makes fun of Arata for not knowing how to swim, though he defends himself by saying plenty of people don't. Arata's future self looks at the note again and reads his second question regarding the solving of the school's 7 mysteries. Arata's future self places his hand on the word yes. In the year ahead, Arata learns to make friends. He laughed with them, cried with them, helped them, and at times, he was betrayed by them. Arata is about to ask the final question, but he hesitates. Hana looks at his paper and remarks that there shouldn't be a problem asking for it. However, Hana makes him promise that no matter the answer, he shouldn't give up. Arata promises. He asks the mirror if he will still love Hana a year from now. Arata's future self recalls Hana nearly choking him to death in an empty classroom. Hana, for some reason, is the one in tears. Arata's future self places his hand on the word yes. He remarks that his feelings will never change, and he could never come to hate her. Arata asks Hana what she's doing and why she doesn't have any clothes on. Hana replies that she is simply burying something, and her lack of clothes is just a little habit of hers. Arata asks her what she's burying, and she finds the answer strange. She's burying him, silly. Arata wakes up drenched in sweat. He heads over to the bathroom and washes his face. He tries to tell himself that it was all just a dream, and it had no meaning. However, that begs the question, why do these dreams continue to haunt him? Arata stares at himself in the mirror and remembers Hana's words. Before his dream becomes a reality, he must solve the 7 mysteries. Later, the school newsletter is distributed to Arata's class. Akiko hands Arata the pile to pass it along, but something catches his eye. Arata spots a small section regarding occultism written by the journalism club. What strikes him as odd is that the contributor's name is Alley Cat, Natsu steps onto the roof to investigate the school rumor regarding the portal to another world. She wonders if the roof itself is already in another world, but she decides that it would be too simple if that were the case. Thus, she decides to jump. Arata rushes toward the roof, and Hana spots him sprinting past her class. Natsu leaps over the chain-link fence, exclaiming that regret comes after death. Arata is stunned to see a woman jumping from the roof. As Natsu plummets to the ground, she proclaims that she is a cat. Arata stares outside the window in disbelief. He definitely just saw someone jump from the rooftop. They didn't even do a flip. Arata tracks down the mysterious student who jumped from the roof. He knows that she couldn't have walked away from that ordeal unharmed. Arata follows the trail to the covered walkway, certain that what he saw was human. However, as he enters the path, someone tugs on his necktie and pulls him in. Natsu is glad to see him, and as an added bonus, she comments that he smells nice. Natsu asks him if he is alone and if he'd be willing to keep this a secret. She also tries to bribe him with the offer of something nice. Arata is coerced into carrying Natsu to the infirmary. As expected, she sprained her ankle during the jump. Arata asks her why she jumped from the roof, and she is surprised he saw that. She proudly asks him if he thought she was cool, confident that she had a nice pose while she soared through the air. Arata tells her she wasn't cool at all. Natsu asks him if he'd like to know the reason why she tried to fly. Arata's mind starts running wild. Jumping from such a high point isn't such a trivial matter. Was Natsu dared? Was she forced? Did she drop her phone? Arata wants to know. He asks Natsu to tell him. Natsu suddenly cracks a wide smile, just as she thought. Arata is a nice guy. Natsu starts describing one of the school's 7 mysteries, which Arata recites alongside her. Natsu is pleased to know that Arata is already aware of it. Arata wants to know how she knows his name, and Natsu reveals that she's been keeping an eye on him for a while. She just wanted to make sure that he could be a comrade of hers. Natsu claims that her sense of smell can judge the worth of a person better than her eyesight can. She can tell that Arata is fearless in the face of danger and pain. More importantly, he is drawn to mysteries and the unknown. That's what she can smell on him. Natsu just loves that stench. Everyone in this manga needs therapy. Natsu remarks that Natsu has the stench of a beast. Arata's eyes wander, and from the furthermost reaches of his peripheral vision, he senses Hana nearby. Natsu is from class 1-3, and she suffers from a similar condition as Arata. She is obsessed to the point of desperation and far more curious. Due to her eccentricity, most of the student body avoids her. Due to the similarity in their conditions, Arata feels secure enough to ask her if she's ever considered trying to cure herself of her abnormality. Natsu tosses him a canned drink. She sees no need to cure their conditions, deeming it more important to live true to yourself. She exclaims that, even if their way of living is weird, there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. As Arata carefully inspects the can, he catches a glimpse of a figure perched atop a utility pole. Arata rubs his eyes and the figure disappears. Meanwhile, Hana visits Natsu at the hospital to check in on her, mockingly calling her by her moniker, Alley Cat. Natsu chides her for showing up unannounced, and she jokingly calls her a ghost. Hana doesn't mind being called a ghost. It is in these kinds of places that they are just filled with them. Hana strongly suggests that Natsu remain at the hospital so she can make new friends. Natsu realizes that Hana is the one who's been messing around with Arata lately. She points out that Hana's actions are no different from those of a stalker. Hana smiles. She admits to having so much fun with Arata lately, and she often thinks about how to entertain herself with him. Hana gives Natsu a warning to behave. Natsu sees no reason why she has to obey her. Having said everything that needed to be said, Hana leaves, concerned that Arata might get himself into trouble again. Before she leaves, Natsu tells her that she noticed a strange scent on Arata when she smelled him. It was the first time she'd encountered such a smell, as though he came from a faraway land. Hana doesn't understand what she's talking about, and she suggests that Arata just must have come from abroad or the countryside. Meanwhile, Arata continues to lock eyes with the mysterious girl atop the pole. There are barely any clouds in the sky. It is hard to explain the feeling of the unknown, and oftentimes the best solution is to show it. Seeing isn't always believing. Sometimes, seeing something leads to even more questions. Things like the sign with no purpose, the quiet figure of a woman on the surface of the lake, or more importantly, Hana's true gender and background. Arata asks Hana if he can take a picture of her. Arata talked about her to a friend in his hometown, and he fears that his poor explanation of her may have caused wild rumors to circulate. A picture of her would make his words make sense, and Hana agrees. Arata is surprised that Hana agreed so readily, but she has a few conditions. First, She refuses to have her photo taken by a flip phone with a resolution half of 144p. Second, she wants to have their photo taken at the abandoned school behind the mountain. Arata and Hana head to the abandoned school. Arata has heard rumors about this place, though the finer details escape his mind. He's always wanted to investigate it, and Hana mutters under her breath that this school has become good bait for him. The school is completely abandoned and devoid of life. There is no chance of anyone interrupting, so Arata can take his photos as he wishes. Hana remarks that when mysteries are involved, people are eager to understand. She, too, is curious about how Arata sees her. Arata takes several artistic photographs of Hana. Despite this hyper-intense fixation on her body and form, Arata is no closer to discerning her true nature. Her gender and background are still a mystery to him, and he still has no answers regarding the rumors surrounding her. The only weapon he has available to him is a slim sheet of film to try and understand her. Arata wants to understand her, despite everyone telling him not to. The following day, Arata waits in his classroom for Hana. They had promised to look over the photos together once they developed, though Arata became deathly curious about how the photos turned out. Arata opens the envelope and spots a strange hand in one of the photos. Puzzled, Arata looks at the other photos and discovers even more body parts. He arranges the collection of photos on his desk to paint the bigger picture, and when he looks upon his work, he trembles. The figure of a ghastly woman, spotted through the lens of his camera. However, the woman's face is not found. Elsewhere, Hana holds up the missing photograph she had swapped out from Arata's collection. She knows that if left alone, Arata would be drawn to the abandoned school regardless. His curiosity has him dancing on the edge of life and death. As Hana stares at the harrowing photograph, she asks the spirit if it felt romantic being chased after. Everything has an origin, even things considered abnormal or supernatural. One simply needs to look deeper and discover what makes such things happen. Arata holds his ear to the ground of the gymnasium in an attempt to solve one of the school's 7 mysteries. Hana hurls several insults at Arata at the infirmary. He was found hunched over on the gym floor in a pool of his own sweat. Hana advises him against collapsing in random places around the school. Hana recalls Arata saying earlier that he wouldn't do anything dangerous. Hana glares at him. Arata relents, and he promises to bring her along next time. Suddenly, a few girls bring in Natsu after she also collapsed in the gym. While they lay her on the bed, she asks them to let her speak to Arata, as she promised to. Hana overhears everything, and she stares at Arata with a fiery vengeance. When Arata and Hana leave the infirmary, Arata has the word cheater stuck to his back. Arata was investigating one of the school's 7 mysteries, wherein a white flower is said to bloom inside the gymnasium. However, you must not touch the flower. Arata and Hana investigate the rumors but fail to find anything conclusive. To make matters worse, everyone they interviewed disagreed on what type of flower it was. Arata finds a flower book at the library and shows Hana what he saw. He supposedly saw the silver clover, also known as the ghost plant. Is a carrion flower known to sprout atop buried bodies or decomposed plant material. The question is, how did such a flower end up at their school? Hana tells Arata about another rumor that their school was built atop a cemetery, though Arata has never heard of that one before. Hana puts her face to the ground, remarking that it would be interesting if the floor they were standing on were actually the graves of long-dead people. It wouldn't be a stretch to consider these bodies as the origin of the school mysteries. Arata asks Hana if she'd like to hang out a little tonight. Arata's face is that of a man on a mission. Later that evening, Arata prepares to leave, telling his mother that he is hanging out with a senior at school. Arata's mother seemingly disappears. Arata runs to the place where he agreed to meet Hana. When he arrives, she is already there, waiting under the dim light of the moon. The conditions are perfect to solve mysteries. It's time to begin. A white flower blooms in the empty gymnasium. When you see it, you must not touch it, and you must not be captivated by it. Hana asks Arata if he is disappointed that she isn't wearing her casual clothes. Regardless of what she wears, Arata claims that his feelings for her won't change. Hana asks him if he is serious, and he replies that he is. Hana smiles. She just might fall in love with him too if he stays so serious about her. Arata declares that he will try his best. With their small talk concluded, Arata and Hana enter the gymnasium, which Arata had unlocked beforehand. Nothing seems to have changed, except for how it looks at night. Arata asks if the ghost flower will appear. Hana tells him that they've come this far to wait, so they might as well kill some time. She throws him a basketball and invites him to play. While playing together, Hana asks Arata what his family thought of him going out in the middle of the night. Arata explains that his father is out, and his mother didn't seem to care. Hana ties her hair into a ponytail and asks Arata if he wants to be spoiled. That move should be every single foul in the game because it was unfair. Arata fails to react and Hana scores for the win. As they watch the ball fall to the ground, they spot a glowing object near the ground. It's the ghost flower they'd been searching for. As they approach the glowing object, Hana wonders how the rumors could have been mistaken for flowers. The white flowers that the rumors speak of are actually ghostly hands reaching out from beyond the grave. The hands are undeniably human. Arata asks how such a thing could be possible, and Hana reminds him about what they spoke about earlier in the afternoon. The school was built atop a cemetery. Hana finds it rather pitiful that these spirits are trapped underneath the school gymnasium forever. Arata reaches down and touches one of the hands, crucially forgetting that he wasn't supposed to. The hands latch onto his body, and he is sucked underneath the floorboards.